Have you ever felt like it's over, but deep down you sense God isn't done yet? There are times your heart knows something your mind can't explain. You can feel a steady peace around a person that no one else understands. And no matter how much you try to move on, something inside of you still believes they're meant to be part of your story. God has a way of connecting two people not through pressure or chasing, but through peace and purpose. When He's involved, the connection will strengthen your spirit, challenge your growth, and bring calm where confusion used to live. You start realizing it's not just about feelings anymore. It's about alignment with what God has already prepared. When God wants you with someone, you won't have to fight for clarity. You'll recognize His hand in the way peace stays consistent, even when situations don't. That's how He shows you it's not over, it's divine timing in progress. One, you both bring out the best in each other. Two are better than one because they have a good reward for their labor. When God sends the right person, something within you awakens that you didn't realize was asleep. You start thinking differently, praying differently, and even believing differently because they make you want to become your best self. Their love doesn't distract you. It disciplines you in quiet, steady ways that help you focus on growth. You start finding beauty in accountability, comfort in honesty, and peace in correction. You notice that being with them doesn't drain your energy. It fuels it. You laugh easier, breathe deeper, and live more intentionally because there's mutual safety. They push you closer to the version of you that God has been preparing behind the scenes. Even when you disagree, something inside of you knows it's safe to stay and work through it instead of running away. They help you mature without making you feel small. They see your potential and speak to it when you start doubting yourself. And that's how God often works. He uses the right relationship to help refine your character, not compromise it. The love that's from Him won't make you question your worth. It will remind you of it daily. This kind of love doesn't just make you smile, it makes you stronger. Because God never sends someone to destroy your peace, He sends someone to help rebuild your purpose. 2, your relationship pushes you closer to God. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, I am there in the midst of them. When it's the person God wants for you, they won't compete with His place in your heart. They'll make more room for Him. You'll start noticing how easily your conversations shift toward faith, healing, and gratitude. They won't shame you for your struggles. They'll pray for you through them. And when life gets hard, instead of pointing fingers, you'll both point upward. You begin to sense that being with them brings you into alignment with God's will, not rebellion against it. It's not just romantic, it's sacred. You start to see how their presence stirs your spirit, not your ego. You begin wanting to walk in obedience, to love better, to forgive quicker, and to trust deeper. You notice that your peace multiplies when they pray with you. And even when you pray separately, you feel the power of their prayers covering you. That's how God confirms the connection by letting His presence be felt every time you come together in His name. A God-centered love doesn't just make you happy, it makes you holy. You grow closer to God because of them, not despite them. And you'll know it's right when the relationship feels like a blessing, not a battle for your soul. 3, you have genuine peace about them. The things which you learned and received and heard and saw in me, these do, and the God of peace will be with you. Peace is one of God's greatest confirmations, and when it's from Him, your heart just knows. You don't have to beg for signs, you don't have to chase clarity, everything just flows naturally. You stop overthinking because confusion has no place where God's peace lives. Even when things are uncertain, you still feel calm because your spirit isn't in chaos. That kind of peace doesn't come from good chemistry, it comes from divine connection. You'll find that love from God feels steady, not shaky. You don't need constant reassurance because their actions already speak what words cannot. There's no pressure to perform, no competition for attention, just comfort and balance. And even when distance or silence happens, there's no panic. Instead, you trust that what's real doesn't require forcing. Peace doesn't mean everything is perfect. It means God's hand is on it. You won't have to convince your heart to stay because it will already feel at home. When God approves something, He sends peace to guard it. That peace will keep you grounded through every test, reminding you that this love is not built by emotion alone, it's built by His purpose. For they pray with you and for you. Again, I say to you that if two of you agree on earth concerning anything that they ask, it will be done for them by my Father in heaven. When someone prays for you, they're fighting spiritual battles you don't even see. They're covering your name in rooms where your voice can't reach, and when they pray with you, the atmosphere changes, and you feel peace that words can't describe. This is how you know it's God. Prayer isn't awkward between you. It's natural. You don't just talk about problems, you bring them before God together. You both learn that real intimacy isn't physical, it's spiritual. It's in the way they hold your hand and remind you that God still has a plan. When you cry, they don't just comfort you, they intercede for you. They pray for your healing, your future, and your strength when you're too weak to do it yourself. God will always send someone who prays for you instead of preying on you. And when they're not around, you still feel their prayers working. The love that's covered in prayer is protected by heaven. And that's when you realize this isn't just someone you love, it's someone you can stand before God with. You both learn to depend on prayer instead of pressure, and in that unity, God begins to bless everything connected to you. 5, you both handle conflict with maturity, bearing with one another and forgiving one another. If anyone has a complaint against another, even as Christ forgave you, so you also must do. Every relationship faces storms, but what makes the difference is how you respond to them. When it's the person God chose, you'll notice that even in heated moments, there's still respect. You both stop before saying something hurtful because peace matters more than pride. You start learning that winning an argument means nothing if it costs the connection. You'll see how God softens your hearts, so forgiveness flows easier than resentment. You learn to talk instead of yell, to listen instead of defend. You stop trying to prove who's right and start focusing on what's right. You realize that love is not proven in good times, it's revealed in how you recover after conflict. When it's God's will, arguments don't separate you. They strengthen your understanding of one another. You both grow through it, instead of giving up because maturity takes over where ego used to live. That's when you'll see that God's kind of love can endure tension without losing tenderness. Forgiveness becomes your first response, not your last resort. And every time peace returns, you'll know this love is covered by grace, not pride. When God is truly involved in your love story, peace will always outweigh confusion, and growth will always replace fear. Every connection has a purpose, and when it's the one God approves, it will draw you closer to Him and make you stronger within yourself. Trust His timing, remain patient in the process, and know that what's meant for you will always carry peace, not pressure. If the content inspired you, please like, comment, and subscribe to Pure Inspirational. Be blessed.